And we're live coast to coast around the globe. You're watching MMT, the Sunday Evening Spectacular. What a show we have tonight. I'm telling you, this might be the biggest show we've ever done, and I'm actually super stoked to do it because I'm going to be super aggressive. I know, isn't that surprising? Weber's going to go off. I never have seen that happen on this show. It will be a first. Let's just get right into it, and then we will get to your comments. This is our big story. Obviously, The Fall Guy's massive box office tumble. This film is not just sort of disappointing. This is a huge, absolute embarrassment for everybody involved, including Universal. And we're going to talk about what they did wrong with this film momentarily. But the thing I want to get to right off the bat is the fact that we're going to list the top 5 reasons that this film underperformed this weekend with a $28.5 million debut that is under The Lost City. That film came out in 2022 when we were still being told, you might die if you go to a movie theater. And it did 30.5. That's over. So what happened here? Let's do the autopsy. I want your answers to the question, why did this film bomb? Now, I'm going to rapid fire those as soon as I get through my top 5. Here we go. Number 1 is really talking about what we just discussed with COVID. Streaming became the norm during COVID. As you guys know, we were told we couldn't go to the movies. New York, LA shut down for longer than virtually anywhere. I had to drive to Vegas to see Tenet. We weren't allowed to go to a movie here except drive-ins. As such, people sat at home and consumed things via streaming. They expected everything delivered to them on their sofa. And that mindset continues today largely. Now, that's not to say that we haven't had films that have succeeded in the marketplace. Go back and look to a Top Gun Maverick, right? Go back and look at even a Doctor Strange, I think, did plenty of business. We saw so many films over the past several years that have done solid box office. The problem is the majority of those films are gigantic tent poles. And while this is sort of a quasi tent pole, it certainly didn't act like that as the first film out of the gate this summer. This is a really bad start, pretty much the worst thing that could happen for both Hollywood, I think more importantly for the theatricals, right? The AMCs, the Regals, the Cinemarks, they're going to hurt because of this. I went to go see 2 movies this weekend, and both times that I walked into the multiplex, 2 different AMCs here in Burbank, dead. I'm talking nobody, because we don't have anything driving the marketplace, and it gets back to streaming. Gets back to people who know that when a film doesn't do well, they're going to get it at home soon. Universal's the worst at this. They were giving films to people at home, sometimes day and date. Look, Five Nights at Freddy's was day and date and still did what, 80 million for an opening? Crazy that happened. It tells you that people want to go to the movie theaters, but again, that's IP driven. You look at this film, you were really hoping, because listen, come on, man, The Fall Guy's not IP that anyone gives a shit about. I didn't even watch the show, and I'm Gen X. So, talk about a younger audience. They don't care about Fall Guy, but what they should have cared about is Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. We'll discuss that momentarily, but here's what you have to do to really correct number 1 here is to get audiences back in the mode of you're going to wait a long fucking time before this movie comes home to you. In the old days, remember, it was a 90-day, 3-month window. Now you're looking at 17, 21, 30, 45 is what I'm asking for. Really, I should be going to 60. If you were to make me AMC, Windows Enforcer, a job that they should be doing, not me on a YouTube channel on a Sunday night, you need to go into the studios tomorrow, not Tuesday, certainly not Wednesday, tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., email blast. We have a conference call at 9 a.m. LA. Weber's on it. He has something he's going to tell all of you. I want Universal, Paramount, Disney, Warner Brothers, Sony, not Netflix because they suck ass. I want Apple on the phone call. I want Amazon. I want A24, Neon. I even want Sony Pictures Classic and maybe STX. Possibly we'll invite them. They don't have anything anymore, but we might still invite them onto the conference call. And here's how the conference call will go. Hey, guys, it's Weber. They all know. That, believe me. And that's the thing that pisses off all the shills, the people that come after me. They all know who I am because I speak loudly and bring receipts. And here's what I'm going to say. As of July 1st, I was going to push to August, but after this, it's July 1st. If you want to show your movies at AMC, you must sign an ironclad agreement. It is a 45-day window. You will not break that. If you do, then you will not be shown at any AMC around the globe. Once that happens, we'll start to get, hopefully, a course correct. I'm not suggesting that if there were a window in place right now, this film would have done $40, $50 million. But I can tell you this, it will help if we reestablish that as the norm rather than this, we might give it to you in 21 days. Then you're just going to wait at home and wait. We're trying to protect cinema. That's what we do here. I don't care about streaming. I don't talk about TV shows. We talk about only things that arrive in movie theaters. The number 2 reason is really awful for a studio. This was handled as atrociously as possible by Universal. Let me explain. This film debuted March 12th, let's call it 2 months ago, at South by Southwest. 2 ovations. Oh my God, this movie's amazing. It's the best film I ever saw. This is the true chemistry. It's a love letter to Hollywood, blah, 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 blah. We know it's not that. We know it's not a great film. We'll talk about that in a minute. That's another reason. But when you debut a film 2 months ago and get all the shills riled up talking about this film, and then you want to see it and you can't, that's not how you do it. You want to build interest closer to the date. If anything, debut it 2 weeks ahead of time. That's the max. I don't know what the hell Universal was thinking. This went off the rails from that debut, and then they showed it again at CinemaCon, and then they had all these free screenings all over the place. And you know what happens? Ask The Flash what happens when that happens. You lose audience because they saw it for free. Why are they going to pay to see it? I can't believe, again, back to the exact same thing I just said about AMC and the windows. I'm here on a Sunday night on a YouTube stream telling the studios how to do their shit. And there's a guy up in an ivory tower on Lankersham down the street from me making $500,000, $1 million, $5 million, and he's not making good decisions. Why? Because these people in Hollywood are either nepotistically hired, they possibly know somebody, which is very similar, or they check a box. And that's not how we run the world. We run the world on merit. And these people in the studios making these decisions are fired. You are out. You fucked this up. Universal, it's terrible. It is truly an embarrassment of a rollout for this film, and it's disservice to everyone involved. And because of that mistake, you paid a price. Also, this is something we have not touched on at all. And I think at this point, when I say this, for a lot of you, this is going to hit home. We don't talk enough about how the economy is effed right now. So many people are barely scraping by, paying rent, paying for their fuel, paying for their food. Everything has gone up. I don't care what your politics are. If you're going to tell me that things are better now in 2024 than they were in 2019, you have lost your goddamn mind. It's gone. You're obviously compromised because you're political. If you were to answer that question with the magic lasso tied around you, you would say, yeah, it's way worse. Prices are up 25, 30, 40%. Some of the things I buy, the groceries, the protein powder that I buy for my gym sessions has gone up 33+%, maybe 50 at this point. Everything is more. Protein bars, my orange juice, my milk, my cereal, every single thing. You're feeling it. And for the average person, if you don't care about movies like we do you think that you are going to go spend $16+ on a ticket, one ticket, to see this? Now, I understand we talk about it all the time. You need to have A-list. You need to have Regal Unlimited. In fact, you're pretty damn dumb if you don't at this point. Even if you go twice a month, it pays for itself. Twice a month. I mean, there's at least 2 movies to see in a month. Not everybody goes to movies 3 times a week, 4 weeks, 12 movies minimum a month, me, okay? But even if you go twice, it's worth it. But if you don't have that, you're going to be very picky about the films that you go see. And I'll tell you, if you're pinching pennies, you're waiting for one film. The film that's going to do the most damage this summer, we all know it, it's Deadpool Wolverine. It's not even a contest, right? That is no-brainer, #1 film of the summer. I'm hoping it gets to $1 billion. I know that Deadpool 2 only got in the 700s, but I believe with these films, the lackluster, offerings that are on the way into this film, you're going to see that film pop. We talk about it all the time, wave theory. It's dead right now. That next film that catches the wave will be huge. That'll help apes this weekend. By the way, I want to mention, we're going to do an ape stream Tuesday night. I am shocked that Disney invited me to see it a little bit early. Yes, I know, right? Oh my God. They must think it's not terrible because they'd never invite me if they thought it was a bad film. Here's #4, and I think you all are waiting for this one. Here it is. Is Ryan Gosling a butts-in-seat talent? That means, does he motivate someone who is unmotivated to come to the movies to go see a film? That's very much in question at this point after this weekend because so much was put on him, and he really doesn't have an excuse. Coming off of Barbie. Now, listen, let me explain before you go off and go, oh, well, he's not listen, it's a $1.4+ billion film worldwide. When you have that kind of glow, that kind of shine off a film like that, off that SNL thing, everyone was talking about his performance on that. Everyone talking about Gosling. He's Oscar nominee. He's doing all these things. He's everywhere. He's just the man of the moment, white hot. And you're going to tell me that that guy can't put butts in seats? Well, right now, I'm here to tell you that maybe he can't put butts in seats. Let's look at his box office performance before we judge this, because I think initially the knee jerk is to say he's not a star. He's never done it. That's not true. Okay. That is 100% not true. With Barbie, he is supporting, obviously, it's his #1 film worldwide at $1.4+ billion. La La Land, very much. He is the lead in that film, obviously, with Emma lead. That film was $433 million worldwide. Did you know that? I didn't even know it was that high. I would have guessed without knowing, just like randomly, I'd say 275. 433. Blade Runner 2049, 257. Okay. Crazy Stupid Love, 146. Remember the Titans? He was like very fresh in that film. 136. And Big Short, 132. That is going to be a supporting character. And First Man, 105. He's the star of that film. That film did 105 million. Like, hello. Drive, 81 million. So it's not like he hasn't had success. I don't think that's fair. You guys know if there's anything that I am, it is fair. It is the ability to reevaluate the situation and not just say, this is terrible. Let me really look into it. Obviously, when I see a film and know in my heart of hearts that this film is bad, then we're going to talk about that in a minute, then that's not going to change. But when I go in and look at the numbers, you can't tell me that he's not a butts in seat. Look at what I just showed you. Okay? I think that's fair. It's not totally on him. Emily Blunt, on the other hand, I would suggest is not a butts in seat talent, right? I mean, she's a name. She's someone that I think audiences feel comfortable with. But is she a star? No, she is not a star. She is not Julia Roberts in the late 80s, 90s, 2000s. She's not that. She might think she is. Her agent might suggest that. But the reality is, no, I definitely don't think that one. I'm for sure going down on that. That is not who she is. She is a very solid supporting actress to have in your film. She's going to give your project credibility, but she's not a draw. Her name is not a draw. Let's talk about Ryan Gosling, going back to what I just said about his box office. If you missed the story, it dovetails exactly into what I'm talking about what he needs to do next, because right now I'm here to tell you guys that at the end of the day, when you look at, let me get the right tab going here. When you look at his career and what he just got done doing, you need to go back to doing a film like Drive. He has to go do something dark. And the problem is when you look here at what he's possibly going to do next, he says that he's not going to be doing anything dark because of his family. I don't really take roles that are going to put me in some kind of dark place. This moment is what I feel like, trying to read the room at home and feel like what is going to be the best for all of us. The decisions I make them with Eva and make them with our family in mind. 2 girls, right? I think La La Land was the first. I was sort of like, oh, this will be fun for my kids too. Okay, I understand that. Okay, as a father, I get that. But let me explain that now that this has happened to your career, Ryan Gosling, as much as I respect a man who values and puts his family first, no one's suggesting that you shouldn't. But you have to listen to me, Ryan Gosling, tonight. And I know that I'm going to tell you guys something. A lot of big-time people watch this channel. I know we don't have the views. I have the proof. I can't show it to you, but trust me on this. I'm going to show you something in a minute, and I'm going to prove it again. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Ryan Gosling, listen to me. You need to talk to Refn now about making Drive 2. It's time to go back to that world. I want to see the film. I know you guys want to see the film. There's a way to write that film and make it feel earned and make it feel that it deserves to exist. That's what I'd be telling you to do right now. Do not make another comedy. We've just seen 2 back-to-back. People clearly are ready to move on from this, Ryan. The dumb, dim-witted kind of, aw shucks guy, that's been played out. I know he's doing something with Lord Miller right now. I hope that is not the same kind of character, although I will say that I do trust Lord Miller a lot more than a lot of writer, producer, directors out there in Hollywood. I would suggest to them the best comedic talent, writing-wise, directing-wise in this town. It's not even a contest, so he is in good hands there. But I do think he cannot just say, I'm not going to do dark films, not after this. The number 5 reason, and then I get to yours, this is my final reason here, and I know this is going to be polarizing. Welcome to MMT. That's what we do. This is not a good film. It's not a train wreck. It's not terrible. It's not unwatchable. This is not a stellar, hilarious film. David Leitch, if there's one thing that I could get through to him tonight, is giving advice to Ryan Gosling, now to you, someone that I do value as a director, as an action comedy. He knows how to direct and make the film look and feel. The thing that you, David Leitch, are missing is the ability to self-edit. You've got to figure out how to bring yourself to bring your films down to a tighter, leaner, more thrilling, because of that fact, film. Because as we are watching now with both Bullet Train and Fall Guy, you're watching a director that doesn't really have any sense of feel in runtime and in letting scenes drag and wearing you out. This film absolutely exhausts you with some of the things that occur forever. I think also the script is terrible, right? We've talked about that. Bringing back the joke about Hall H no fewer than 3 times and then paying it off at the end 4 times, Hall H. That is such an inside baseball joke to make 4 times. 4 times. You got to know better, okay? Once, twice, it's like that Taste the Rainbow line from Shazam 2. Twice? You're going to use it twice? I mean, we have a crisis of talent in the writing arena. Dave Pierce, this is not good. But yet, we're going to get into both the Shill of the Week and the Overvalued Film Voice. It's a new segment we have here on MMT on Sunday night. Both of those people are like, this is so funny. It's one of the best scripts I've ever seen. No, guys, listen, we can talk about chemistry between these two. I don't think it's terrible. We can talk about the beginning of this film being fun and feeling semi-fresh, and then it just disappears. And I'm telling you, if this film were as great as the film it apes often, in fact, rips off Tropic Thunder opening scene, that scene when we get Emily Blunt on set and she's talking to the first AD about the explosions, that is straight from McBride, straight from Tropic Thunder. Is this the time? He gave us the cue. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. It's the same joke. Dave Pierce, you are a plagiarist. That is literally ripping that. And how do you not see that? That's why I'm going to call out one of our most overvalued film voices. It's not Fantasy, by the way. It's another one. And our shill. How do you not spot that is plagiarism? That is ripping off another film. And then you've got later Aaron Taylor Johnson doing McConaughey. McConaughey's in Tropic Thunder. This is not Tropic Thunder. It's nowhere near it. In fact, when you heap all this praise on Fall Guy and then you watch a Tropic Thunder, you go, where do you go when you say Fall Guy is hilarious and this is what Hollywood's all about, and then you watch Tropic Thunder? How can you go up from that? Tropic Thunder destroys the Fall Guy. Again, we talk about all the time. Two guys in a ring. Bang, it's over. One punch. Fall Guy's dead. I'm sorry. Will you please cart that person out? That movie's out. Tropic Thunder destroys it. So these are all the reasons. Let's go to your reasons. I got 86. Guys, I can't do this on myself. Okay, I'll do a super chat. It's easy. I think the economy and streaming are the biggest reasons. General audiences have been trained to expect films like this on Amazon or Disney Plus in 3 weeks. Simeon, I agree. That was our number one reason, right? So because of that, you've got people that sit it out and they know that they're going to just hang out and they'll get it in 3 weeks, in a month. 45 days is 6 weeks, right? That's enough time. I know you guys want 60. I know you want 90. I'm telling you, if I get on the conference call tomorrow with the studios and I say 60, they're going to freak. If I say 45 and I say that's it, we're not moving off that number, then, because here's the thing, right? It's like when you go to look at a house or a car, they throw a number out, you throw it. No. We're just going to say it's 45. I'm not going to start at 60 and work back. It's 45, period. And then the conference call's over. Click. It's done. Where did Weber go? It's over. 45 days. You have until the end of the week to give us the answer. The thing is that no one has the balls to do this stuff. Guess who has leverage here? AMC, Regal, Cinemark. They have leverage because theatrical is still important this day. You look at the films we just mentioned before. Look at a Maverick, well over $1 billion, $1.5 billion. Barbie, 1.5. Oppenheimer, almost $1 billion. You're looking at Deadpool, Wolverine, $1 billion. If you tell Disney right now that if you don't give us a 45-day guaranteed window on Deadpool, Wolverine, or we're going to yank it, then what do you think Disney's going to say? You have them. Now, I understand the contracts might have already been written for some of the films that are already locked in, but whatever that date is, it's 45 days. We can play with that, right? That's very much available to compromise on as far as when that date starts. Let's go to a couple more comments, and then we're going to roll to the next thing. I've got so many things tonight, guys. Thanks for being here, MMT. I hope I don't get hit with a copyright strike. Do you guys like the new opening? I played little challengers, little Reznor Ross. My God, that score, right? And then we roll into it. Just a little touch. I'm going to try to find a song every week that I like. You guys know I like electronica. Why do you think I like the Challenger soundtrack? Because it's very tech. No, it's very progressive housey. And because of that, I loved it. So I'm going to play a song that's very likely something you'd find on Above and Beyond's Group Therapy, which I love. By the way, if you've never listened to Group Therapy, one of my favorite things I listen to at the gym every single time I go there. All right, here we go. Tropic Thunder 2 or spinoff of Les. And listen, some say that I am Les Grossman, and that's fair. I will be the Les Grossman in this situation. I would love to see a Tropic Thunder 2. It's not going to happen. You guys... The problem with this is that now that so much time has passed, there's a bunch of reasons. First of all, the salaries are going to be way too high to make the film. They're all going to ask for all this money to come back. That's a problem. But the biggest problem we all know, you can't do some of the jokes. You can't go full retard. We can't do these things. We can't do Robert Downey Jr. in blackface. We can't do any of this. And because of that, I can't make Tropic Thunder 2. But until we as society say we're allowed to say these things, we can make these jokes. And when the people get angry and get, oh, you offended me, we say, I don't care. And we don't listen to them and we don't give in to the whiners, then we will get what we get. But until that happens, we're not going to be able to make the movie. It's just unfortunate because it's there. We could write it. We could make it. There's plenty of talented writers out there that are, able to write a Tropic Thunder 2. By the way, I just switched the crawl at the bottom. It was saying that we were playing the Challenger song the entire time. This is why I need a producer. I can't do 1,000 things at once, guys. All right, let's do this. Let's do our whack film review spotlight, dovetailing off of The Fall Guy. I just said the film's not great. I know a lot of you are angry about that. You go, no, it is great. Alex B at over its first showing was really riled up when I told him it's not a great film. Guys, it's not. Okay, it's just not. But when I read, and get ready, this is a 1-2 punch. This is going to be a 1 and then a 2, and it's going to be our new thing called the most overvalued film voice. And this is one from, I see this guy pop up all the time. And not only is this dude pretentious, and listen, the one thing I'm not, people say a lot of things about Weber. I'm not pretentious. Am I a loudmouth? Hell yeah. Am I aggressive? Hell yeah. Am I these things? 100%. Am I abrasive? 100%. Am I pretentious? 100% not. This dude is. This guy, every time I read one of this dude's things, it's like, my God, this freaking guy, I got to read this shit. Of course, he writes for Vulture. Talk about pretentious. Here he is. Bilge Abiri. If I said it wrong, that wasn't meant to be. But have you guys ever seen this guy pop up? First of all, everything he says here is laughable because there's parts of Fall Guy that rocks. And there's parts that are charming. There's a few things that are funny. There's not a whole lot of romantic. There's, I guess, some atmosphere because of Leach. It's got dazzling stunts. I mean, it's a movie about a stunt guy, so it's, that. This is why God invented Hollywood. Dude, you can't say that about The Fall Guy. It's not why God invented Hollywood. But this guy always pops up with either terrible takes or pretentious bullshit. I looked into him and I go, you know what his background is? He's a failed director. He's a failed director. He's made some films that I don't know if any more big. I've never heard of them. But he's a failed director who moved into the critic spot. Every time I got to read this dude's shit, it's like, are you the most pretentious, unrelatable person I've ever come across in my life? Because yes, he is, and he is one of our overvalued film voices, Bilge Abiri. God almighty, make that guy disappear, please. Oh, Weber's being mean. Weber's being mean. Get ready. It's time for our shill of the week. Let's just do a 1-2 on this. You guys ready? Here it is. But Bilge knows so much. I don't give a shit. He's a terrible critic, and he's pretentious as shit. He doesn't speak for anybody. I read his stuff and I'm like, who are you? Are you even a real person? I write for Vulture. I'm so smart because I write for Vulture. And then all the people will reply are the same pretentious New York knobs. All of them the same. We're so smart about movies. Here's the thing. You jump on a live stream, you guys can't even do this shit. I would destroy you guys in a head-to-head. So don't even bother. It's not even a game. You'll lose every time. Go back to pretentious bullshit in New York. Here we go. This guy, Joe Russo, not one of the Russo brothers, but he is our shill of the week. I'm sorry, guys. I messed that up. The shill of the week is Joe, the third Russo brother, Russo. This guy is a writer-director, and every time I see his tweets come in, it's always, this is the best movie I've ever seen. The Fall Guy fucking did it. Movies are back, baby. Woo! Here's the problem. It's okay to have that reaction. I've had that reaction about Challengers. I said it was cinema. That's not the problem. The problem with our boy Joe Russo is he's a director. He's a guy who has written movies that you all are familiar with, such as Nightmare Cinema, Inheritance, Au Pair Nightmare, Soulmates, Beer Run, and also more. All of these movies are very popular. Here's why he's our shill of the week. Because this guy is a writer-director. And Alex, let's go. Let's bring it. Joe Russo was also a pro-strike idiot and has been killing us. This guy is every time I've got to see this guy pop up, I go, here's what I want Joe Russo to do. Spend less time on Twitter raving about movies and more time writing movies that we've actually seen. Is that too much to ask? Oh my God. But here's the problem. It's not that Joe is a writer director. That's awesome. Good for Joe. Good for Joe. He's made some movies that no one's seen. Maybe we'll sit back. I'll watch Nightmare Cinema and I'll review it next week. But here's what I'm going to tell you. You can't review movies and be a writer director. Here's why, Joe. Because you can never hammer a movie. I'm sure you'll come after me on Twitter. This guy. Here's the thing, Joe. Show me a tweet that you've written saying a film is terrible. This is trash. This is garbage. That's the thing. Why are you even commenting? Why do you have anything to say? Because you can't ever say anything's terrible. Everything's got to be great because you're looking for your next job. I don't care about that. I'm not looking for my next job. I'm looking to do a show that's entertaining, that is raw, that is authentic. And when you're you can't do what I do. But yet you're going to get all these likes in your tweets for this is the best movie I've ever seen. God almighty. I need a second. He's a pro strikey. Was he really? No, whatever. The strikes, I will say this. Let's quickly on the strikes. The strikes were important for a key reason. We do not want AI coming in here and rewriting all this shit and taking over jobs. No question about it. We need to protect jobs in Hollywood. Unless you're an untalented writer like Drew Pearce. Drew Pearce's job does not need to be protected. If anything, it needs to be eradicated. But other talented people need to have their jobs protected. So we don't need AI coming in. So I think the strike, I don't know if he does. I have no idea. If he does, he does. I don't even care. Guys, when's the last time I gave a shit about any of that? I don't. You guys ready for this? Everybody wants shorter movies. Is this surprising? What do you think the average runtime is that most people said is the exact number they're looking for when they watch a movie? And this gets right into The Fall Guy at 2 hours and 5 minutes. That blows by this number by over a half an hour. Did you guys see what the number is? Guesses now. Come into the comments and give me a number. What do you think the ideal runtime number is? I'll give you a hint. It's under 120 minutes. It's under 110. It's under 100. It's under 95. You're close. Jeff Reddit, it is 92 minutes. And you know what? Look, we're going to go to people.com. I used to read People magazine when I go to the dentist or the orthodontist or wherever you were going, the eye doctor. Remember, you just grab the issue of People and there'd be a picture of Julia Roberts on the front and you'd read about her wonderful life and there'd be a couple of caption reviews in there. The perfect movie length is 92 minutes, which is exactly how I feel. I told you guys what happened the other night when I was watching Fall Guy. I looked at Fall Guy and I said, I looked at my watch and it was 92 minutes into the movie. And I go, when's this wrapping up? I'm not even kidding you. I mean, how is that possible? Because you feel it. We talk about this so often. As a director, this goes back to Leach and what I told Leach needs to do. You've got to be able to feel things. You've got to be able to understand that this is long, right? It's like, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. This stream is not perfect. God almighty, is it not? It's usually just a random bunch of shit thrown together. But I do know when I'm talking about something too long, I feel it. And I know you guys feel it too. Trust me, I don't just see the views or whatever, people watching. I can tell. I'm like, this isn't going too long. As such, as a director, you have to be able, when you're watching your movie back, say, this is too long. This scene, this, that, this, compact, get rid of this, rearrange, reformat, whatever that may be. You've got to be able to have that. And so many directors don't. And so many studio heads don't have the ability to tell these directors, you're out of control. This is too long. This needs to come in at 100. I'll give you 105 minutes max. I really want to see it at 98, but if I'll give you 105 and that's it. There's your range. I want 98 to 105. You can go under, you cannot go over. Is that fair? I think that's really fair. Now, that's not to say there aren't exceptions. if I see something that is truly mesmerizingly fantastic, then I will say, keep going. Look at A Wolf of Wall Street, 3-hour film. I think it's nearly perfect. My favorite film of that year, 2014, correct? I think it's Leo DiCaprio's best performance, not even a question. One of Scorsese's best films, and it's 3 hours long. It's not a one-size-fits-all scenario. That said, every film I see is too long. Almost every. Not every film, because I've got 2 films coming up tonight we're going to discuss called I Watch the TV Glow. I believe that's the first one, A24, and the second one is Tarot. What do they both have in common? 90 minutes long. Exactly, Jeff. Actually, I missed it. Jeff, a filmmaker should be forced to earn a longer runtime. Exactly. You earn it, right? Watch out, Gone Girl. I will ban you. Everybody go after Gone Girl in the comments for that right there. No, I did not. The Irishman feels long. Every scene goes on too long. It needs to be tightened up big time. So no to that. But yeah, I saw the TV go. Thank you, Michael. I saw it. I've got things to say about it. Let's do this. I remember I told you that people watch MMT. You guys ready? I am certain tonight that Ben Affleck watches MMT. Do you know how I'm certain? I am 1,000% certain because I am about ready to show you something from tonight. Oh, God, did I not save it again? I'm the worst. I saved it. Get ready. This is him at the roast for... Listen to what he has to say. When I saw this, I go, holy shit, Affleck watches. There's not even a question. He is channeling me right now when he's... Just listen. Here it goes. Let me turn it up.
Your back, okay? You guys out there talking shit, all right, behind your fucking keyboard, that doesn't make you a fan. That makes you a bitch.
That is straight off of the MMT dialogue sheet. Literally every single... One more time. Let's listen to him. Imagine me saying this instead of Affleck.
Your back, okay? You guys out there talking shit, all right, behind your fucking keyboard, that doesn't make you a fan. That makes you a bitch.
Guys, right now, come in and tell me if this guy doesn't watch MMT based on that right there. That is me every single time. Every single time, guys. I always say that shit, and it's like, yeah, he's 100. He's 100% doing that. I'm telling you, it's close. He probably watched the hypnotic reaction and knew that I'm right. You know, these guys watch because I get direct messages from people that are crazy, and I say, I always laugh, and I go, I appreciate the fact that you didn't get angry because. It comes across like even Joe Russo that we savaged earlier. It comes across as kind of personal, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like a roast / comedic performance, and it's over the line. But it's never like, you know, I try to avoid the physical look, right? It's more like just, you know, movies that people have seen. It's more like dig. You know, Joe could come back at me and say, have a channel that's bigger than the Riddlers in the Batman. And that's fair. I would laugh. I'd say it's fine. I don't care. It's what I want. It's 100% Geely. You know, I never watched Geely. Yeah, whatever. He can hate. You know, he knows I'm right. That's the thing. They all know I'm right. Even Joe Russo and the Russo brothers definitely are. Can we agree Bill Skarsgård is horrible at acting? Seeking God's Will. Thank you to joining the channel here tonight. I believe it's the first time I've seen you. I didn't see Boy Kills World. I don't think that he's menacing enough to be Pennywise, so I would agree. I don't think it's like the worst. He's not a total detriment to the film like Tiffany Haddish in The Card Counter. We talk about that so often. You talk about a performance that wrecks a film, go watch The Card Counter, and whenever Tiffany Haddish comes in, just imagine Paul Schrader in the monitors going, oh, fuck me. He is literally... knowing his film is being detonated by Tiffany Haddish every time she walks onto the screen in that film. And poor Oscar Isaac. But I don't think he's that bad. Do I think that he is as good as his father, Skarsgård, right? It's not. I know there's that family's like all over the place. His dad, that's a whole nother thing. He's Pretty Boy, which I think is a challenge, right? When you're too good looking, and Gosling, I think, deals with this. when you're too good looking, it can be a detriment. You almost want to be somewhere in between and have flexibility. You look like Bobby Canali. Is that how you say his last name? I never have said that dude's last name. I love him. He's going to be in Maxine. Can't wait. That trailer's so strong. I watched it again today in front of Tarot. I watched the TV Glow. So I love that. That's going to be the movie this summer for me, Maxine. You asked me what movie is the one movie that if you gave all the movies up and you had to watch one and that's the only one you get, it's Maxine. No, I mean, it's not even a question. Cannavale. Okay. Well, you guys know who I'm talking. Yes, it was terrible. Hypnotic was bad. It was not good. Go watch my reaction stream where I believe I said that film destroyed a studio. Solstice Studios went belly up because of that film. They gave it, what was it, $70 million for that? This is a great story. This is going to be fun. We'll talk about this for a while. Is The Rock an asshole? And The Rock has come at me a few times on Twitter with tweets. I don't know if The Rock is aware of who I am, but I bet that if I went up and said, "Hey, Dwayne," he'd be like, "I know who you are." I'm just saying I would bet money on that, and I think Menzel would agree on that. That said, and Menzel's fair. People say whatever, but Menzel's fair. He would be, I think, a impartial judge on that. Here's what I'm going to say about The Rock is this story looks bad. What he did on set allegedly looks really bad. And to my knowledge, he has not refuted it. Is that correct? I don't believe. Here it is. If you have missed it, let's get the catch up from Decider.com that gives us the Cliff Notes edition of the Rap exclusive that says that his movie Red One was delayed by his chronically late arrivals and unprofessional behavior. It was an effing disaster. Okay, Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans' Christmas action flick Red One suffered major delays. There are reports, the Rap, saying that the budget went over $250 million. And the reason that it went over $250 million, well, is there an ad popping up there? The reason it went over $250 million is because of this. Dwayne was inconsistent at being chronically late. The report claims Johnson was regularly late to set, allegedly reaching an average of 7 to 8 hours late. What? 7 to 8 hours? It's one thing to be 15, 20 minutes. We all have a friend who's always late. Just a little bit. Not 7 or 8 hours. And here's the problem with that. He would miss entire days of production. The problem is you got all these people on set waiting for you. So it's very, very self-centered. Very selfish and real dicky. There's not even, if this is true, there's not even really an out for The Rock. It's a dick move. There's no way to spin it other than that. And source says it was an effing disaster. Dwayne truly doesn't give an F. Well, obviously, if he shows up 7 to 8 minutes late, hours, not minutes, they rent a location, shoot as much as they can with the other actors while they wait for him to decide if he's coming to set. A former production assistant on the show, this is Ballers, there's regular 3 to 4 hours late to set on Ballers, keeping 100+ crew members waiting for no reason. So apparently this is not one or two things. They went to a bunch of different people, and they said, this guy is always late. Apparently he was also peeing in a bottle to save time. Like, hey, I'm going to pee in a bottle, and then I'm going to hand it to somebody, and you throw it away. What? Peeing in water bottles. That's bizarre. Here's the thing. In Hollywood, you got a lot of people with big egos. The Rock may seem like a good guy, and maybe he is. I've never met him. He comes across as a genuine person. That doesn't mean he is. You guys, this town is built on appearances. The one thing that you'll get from me that you'll get from nobody else, truly nobody. Gore, I think, is pretty fair. Gore's pretty good at this. Is the person you get here is the same person you get out there. There's no difference, no differentiating between this guy and the guy at AMC Burbank. So I'm obviously not running in there ranting and raving like I am on a show. This is a live show. I got to bring the energy. But I'm just saying, if you talk to me, I'm not going to be like some weird, it's going to be the same thing. Rock, I don't know. Stars, you hear all the time. I've told you guys the story, and I want to tell you who it is. I want to tell you who it is, but I just, if I do, it's going to be bad. That's all I'm going to tell you. Here's what I'm going to say, and I'm not going to tell you who it is, so don't ask me. I have a very good friend who is very well connected in Hollywood. And we were sitting back having beers one night and said out of nowhere, I'm going to play a game. You guess the person, and I'll say, I'll tell you if you're right. He said, okay, this person's one of the biggest assholes in Hollywood. And of course I start cranking out names that are obvious. And it turns out, almost said the name, the person that is, and trust me, this person knows. You would never believe it. You wouldn't believe if I told you who is one of the biggest assholes in Hollywood. You would never believe it. You'd be like, what? No, not, you just wouldn't. I'd give you 10 guesses, you wouldn't get it. 20, maybe, because you'd run out of guesses. Big actor, been in a lot of things. But the thing is you don't know. You don't really know what these people are like. Here's what I'll tell you. If I ever got a modicum of success that The Rock got as far as an actor or whatever it may be, where I was supposed to be in place A at this time X, and I were to show up late, it would be by a minute or two, 5 minutes. I'm never late. I'm always on time. If the movie starts at a certain time, I'm there. Obviously, previews, who gives a shit? My point is if I go to a critic screening, it starts at 7. I'm not showing up at 7:05. I don't expect them to hold it for me. First, they never would for me. But, there are critics who do that. I used to live in Boston, where one of the main critics there would show up actively late every single time because he knew that they would hold the screening. That is called ego. That's selfish. You're holding everybody up, 250, 300 people in the theater waiting to start a movie. I would never do that. If you want me to be somewhere at a certain time and I agreed to it, not Gore's world premiere, that's not the same thing. I wasn't like a featured talent there. I was going to it. I had nothing to do with it. You can't use that. But if I was like, okay, you're going to present at Film Threats award show, I did that multiple years. I was there. I did it. If you want me to do something, I'll be there. That would never change. If you gave me $50 million in the bank, I would still show up on time because I'm not selfish and thinking about only myself, worrying about the other people sitting there on set, because I've been there. I told you guys I've done shows. I was on NCIS, which is a featured role. It's truly, I think, really Emmy kind of nomination level. Didn't happen, unfortunately. And then I was also on Euphoria. And I know in other shows, largely like glorified background stuff. Every time I show up on set, you know what happens? Every single time Weber shows up on set, it's not, now it would be, you're the movie guy, we can't have you on at all. Like if I show up on a Netflix production and be like, that's Weber, get him the fuck off, get him out of here. They go, this guy looks like Iron Man. Every single time. I told you guys the story quickly. I went to shoot a show called Bob Loves Abishola over at Warner Brothers, and I was the background. I was supposed to just be in the back of the scene for a Valentine's Day like dinner thing. And they put me at a table that was the cameras, okay, here's the camera, here I am, here's the actors. They go, all of a sudden they go, stop. And then the first AD walks up to me and he goes, can you come with me? And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm just sitting here. I'm literally just like, this is all you're doing, right? You're going, right, that's it. You're just doing just basic movements that you're having dinner. You're not talking. You're, unique New York without saying anything. And then he goes, come with me. And I go, oh shit, what's happening? What's going on? We need you to go here. And they moved me to a seat further back. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I don't care. You're paying me. I don't give a shit. So I sit down in the back and then no joke, they start doing the scene again. And the first AD goes, hold on. He comes up and goes, we need to, we're going to put you in the corner and you're going to be facing away from the camera. And you're going to be looking at the wall. And I'm like, what the fuck? What did I do? Why am I being treated like a leper here on the set of Bob Loves Abishola? Well, I'll tell you what happened. As I went to turn in my stuff, because when they give you random things to wear, here's a hat, here's we don't like your shirt, wear this. It's kind of fun to do this shit. I haven't done it in a while. Is when you do it, they give you all the stuff. You have to give it back to props or to wardrobe, whatever. And so I went back up, and the lady who was there was like, I heard on the radio that Iron Man was here. And I'm like, shit. I've told you guys this story. Listen to me. When I added the goatee, I did not do it to look like Robert Downey Jr. I did it to look like Johnny Depp, and the whole thing has failed. I have never once been told that I look like Johnny Depp, and it's a total, absolute abomination of what I really wanted it to be versus what it ended up being. So I apologize. I didn't ask to look like Iron Man. Speaking, and we'll get to comments in this. Actually, let's do comments. There's a whole bunch of comments. Who's going to be my moderator? I might get Gone Girl to do it for at least a trial basis. Yeah, I've had that experience where ADs on the set were like, we can't have that guy on screen. Exactly, jerk. I mean, they go, I don't know about that guy. Maybe they did see MMT Gets Freaky. It's true. Erick Leper. That's fair. Hey, listen, in some places, it's the truth. That old Tony Stark. Zack Snyder's writers need to be examined. How stupid are they? Oh my God. So true. Terrible. Small. I can do it. Here's the thing, Kuzma, quickly before more comments. I really do need a producer. I'm not kidding you guys. I'm going to ask Gone Girl if you're on the stream next week. I'm going to give you a trial run. Here's what I'm going to tell you is that if you put me in a small role in a movie, I would totally kill it. Like, not even just a little bit. You'd be like, that guy's a natural. Because here's the reality. You guys watch the show, you know. If you put me in, and again, Menzel knows this. If you put me in front of a camera, I don't give a shit. I'm like, well, what are we doing here? Got it. Okay, let's do it. Like, let's go. We don't even need to rehearse it. Let's just do it. What's the line? Like, literally, Bill O'Reilly, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. What's the line? You want, okay. Dude, what the fuck? That's it. Good. That's it. We're good. Whatever the line is, I can deliver it quickly and be off the set. I'm like Krusty the Clown when he ripped off all the lines with the cards, right? He's going through the cards and he's into the microphone for his, doll. And he's like, it's cool. It's Krusty. Hey, kids. And he does, and then he runs. And then the guy's like, we're ready. He gets the tape up there. Krusty's already gone in his limo. That's me on set. If you want me to come on set and destroy it, I can even do it shirtless. No other film person can do that. You guys know nobody else can do that. Nobody. Do you think Stuckman's going to do a shirtless walk-on a show? Hell no. Do you think that Grace Randolph is going to do a shirt? Do you think... Who's another person? Whoever they are. Jeff Snyder, he's definitely not doing a shirt. Well, I had to take a dig at Jeff. I had to. Speaking, can I ask you guys a question? This is just, again, we're just free flow here. What happened to, what's his ass? Scott Mans. This is something I just saw. I remember that website. What's the website? Not Film Throughout. I keep saying that. Screen Rant. They had this big announcement. Oh, here comes Scott Mans. He's going to be the new guy on Screen Rant. And then it was like this huge thing. Everyone was commenting, oh my God, Scott's the best. And then now the tweet was deleted. I found the tweet deleted. And then there's like no mention. What happened? Like, how do you get fired in like a day? I mean, don't get me wrong. I could see how I would get fired in a day, but not Mans. Guy's milk toast. Scott Mans is so boring. He has nothing to say that's interesting. He's just like, hey guys, everything's great. I mean, how is he going to say something that's controversial? Like me, I would get fired in a matter of hours. I'd go on the set and say, we're not doing that DEI thing. That's stupid as shit. Hire the best talent next. And they'd be like, you can't say, Weber, you can't say that shit. Dude, it's in our contract. No, we're not doing that. We're gonna hire the best person. If they happen to be black, awesome, man. That's what I want to see. I want to see talent. I don't care about checking a box. Weber, you're fired. God damn it. I told you guys, super chat, I'll get it. I told you guys that I was gonna be ruthless and say how it really should be, and it should be. You guys know I'm 100% right that this whole thing about checking boxes is stupid as hell. It's pathetic. It gives an advantage to people that you shouldn't give an advantage to anybody. The advantage comes in your individual talent. The advantage does not come in your skin color, your sexual orientation, your religion, your sex. It comes from your talent. It does not come from what you were born, this color of your skin. Guys, this is insane. It's insane. I know I'm right. You guys know I'm right. It doesn't make me anti-woke. It makes me right. It makes me 100% right. Nobody can ever attack that. No one's ever cut this out and said this guy's a racist because he's right. I'm right. I've never valued someone more or less for the color of their skin. I never will. It's end of discussion. There's nothing more to talk about of that. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Whenever I hear about it from somebody, it makes me physically want to throw up. Like, because it's a pathetic reaction. It's a pathetic way to view the world. We view the world that everybody is essentially the same. Obviously, some people have more talent in certain areas. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the best writer. I'm looking for the best actor. I'm looking for the best director. I'm not looking for the best black director, the best white director, the best female director. I'm looking for the best director who has the most talent. Why is this so hard? Why is that hard? Can someone explain to me why that is a thing? I don't understand it. And frankly, I don't want to understand it because it's a broken mentality. It's a victim mentality, and I can't stand it. It makes me physically ill even discussing it. I won't ever play that game. I don't care if I'm living in a dream world. That's the world I'm going to live in, and I'm not going to be told I'm going to live in another world. I will not do it. You guys know I won't play the game. That doesn't make me anti-woke. It makes me sensible. It makes me objective. It makes me fair, and that's what I'm looking for. I don't know why. It's totally simple. It couldn't be easier, guys. Literally what I just said. There's nothing. Well, Snyder can be upset. He can go to the gym and come back at me. He can be as upset as he wants, Richard. Alex, the role of dual strikes played in the weekend can't be overstated enough. It was supposed to be Deadpool's weekend. Correct. That's right. They did move Fall Guy, thank you, from February out. So, but then, okay, fine. I get it. But it still goes back to point number 2 we made from the top. Universal botched this whole thing by debuting at South by. Stupid as fuck. Really, really, really terrible. Few are hired on talent. Most are hired because of who they know. There's no question that's a big part of it. We talked about nepotism, right? Box checking and virtue signaling. These 3 things tend to be very big. Here's what I'm going to tell you guys. I hope that if you watch MMT and you like it, it's not because I'm a white guy. Why would you? That's so stupid. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You would watch it like, this guy is aggressive. This guy is authentic. This guy is super opinionated. You wouldn't say initially, oh, I like him because he's a white guy. What? Like, imagine if that's how people valued you. Oh, I know why you're here, because you were hired because we needed a token white guy. You'd be like, what? I don't want to even be here. I would leave. That's me, because I want to be valued for what I bring to the table, not for checking a box. I don't even understand the mentality. Again, if you can't make it on your own individual merit and your talent, then you don't deserve to make it. I'm sorry, not everybody makes it. We don't live in a socialist, everybody gets the same fucking result. You have to work. When I started this channel, we had 3 people watching. Okay, it didn't matter. I didn't care. I still don't care if we have 80, 800, never had 800, but whatever the number is, doesn't matter. You have to build and you have to prove yourself, and it takes time. I didn't expect people to show up because I'm a white guy. Like, that's insane. It's insane. So in life, you work. Sometimes it doesn't work out. I mean, some would say after 2 years of doing this, we only have like 2,100 subscribers, 2,200, whatever the number is. I mean, it doesn't matter. That's bad. Look, you're failing. I've told you guys, I don't care. I don't base my life and my value on what I do on the metric of how many people watch, how many people like it. I appreciate that people like it, but that's not why you do something. And it's just a mentality. In life, I believe that you do what you love and what you're passionate about, and then the rest of it will come or it won't. It doesn't matter. I don't need to be validated by that. Other people, I feel like they do, and I don't understand that. That's not my validation. I don't wear football shirts, soccer jerseys, for those in the States, because they make me look cool. I like them because they represent a place. Maybe I visited. This is Columbus Crew. Just won the CONCACAF. Huge win for them. This is where I grew up. So this holds value to me from my hometown. Some of the other jerseys hold value because I just love the way they look. It's not about, oh, I'm wearing this jersey. Because I like it. If you have something in your life like that, that's awesome. But again, it's not to impress other people. It's that it makes you happy, right? It's all about the intent. If the intent is to spread the news about something, in this case, what I'm doing here, about films that I love or hate, then that's what you do. You don't need to worry about the views. Doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter, man. Okay, a few more. I got to do a couple things. I agree with most of what you say. Good. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not boring. Thank you. Yeah, it's 100% true. I try. Some people say I have a terrible attitude. This guy's the worst. This guy's terrible. And in fairness, there's times that I definitely go down a dark road. But I think overall, I'm a pretty positive person. Let's talk about a movie. We got so much to talk about. We're almost up to an hour, and I've got 2 movies to talk about. Plus, I wanted to talk about Deadpool Wolverine. It's crazy. This show's like too much. I can't do a 2-hour show. I'm already tired. I did a 3-hour show once, and I did it. I can have proof. Go back and look. I can't do it. It's hard by myself. MMT evaluation time. I saw the TV glow. This is A24's new film, opened in 4 locations this weekend. One of them happened to be Burbank, which made it super easy for me to see this thing. And what it is first of all, be warned. I'm going to give you the negative first, and then I'll switch around, give you some positives, negatives. Here's what I'm going to tell you. First off, this is weird for even A24. This is a film that is about a young dude who meets another seventh grader, meets a ninth grader. Both of them love a TV show from the 90s. It's a weird TV show, a cult show that's on like an MTV kind of thing late on Saturday night. They get into it. They almost get into the show. The film has so many layers going on with what's reality and what's fantasy. There's a lot to handle here. So you need to know that if you go see this film, it is going to take a large deal of patience, but I very much like the artistic slant of this film. It goes with pretty much everything we talk about with A24. Doesn't matter if I love or hate an A24 film. The one thing that I'm almost guaranteed universally to get out of an A24 film is an artistically directed film with really cool choices, whether that's cinematography, whether that's score, whether it's just the way it breathes and moves, its atmosphere. I'm going to get that. You get that here. I think the biggest takeaway from this film, and it's a lesson to be learned for David Leitch here tonight, when you watch a film like I Saw the TV Glow, if you're going to go down an esoteric, very strange path that's going to be a challenge for a lot of viewers, think Beau is Afraid, not that obtuse, not that inaccessible, but still something that's going to be challenging for the very vast majority of moviegoers, you need to do one thing. You have to do this. Any guesses? Say it loud right now. You need to have a tight runtime. If you do not, you are risking alienating a large portion of your audience because you are gratuitous. You just gave us too much and it's just out of control. You need to rein it in. And I got to give the director here, second film. I never saw her first film. I want to see it now after seeing I Saw the TV Glow. She understands that if you're going to be weird, if you're going to demand a lot from your viewers, keep it tight. Ari Aster, watch I Saw the TV Glow, an hour and a half. It made me think about this throughout. Is if Beau is Afraid were 1.5 hours long, I bet I would have liked the film. I bet I would have come out of it and said, this has some cool things. I like it. The biggest problem about that film is that it is punishingly overlong. And this film comes in at 90 minutes. That's how you do it. And for that is a recommendation for me. I mean, listen, anytime that you can get this thing to 90 minutes, you're going to win for me almost universally. And we go to our next film back to back. This is, by the way, I'd give it about a 75%. Not a great score, but also not a terrible score. There are things to extract from this that I really like. What I do like, let me say one more thing about where the TV, I watched the TV Glow, or I saw the TV Glow, is that what I love about this film is at the end, you have a grown, because remember, the movie starts with a seventh grader and you end up with an adult, and he goes back and watches the show that he was so into in seventh grade and then sees it for what it really is when he's older and realizes the show wasn't nearly as cool or as fantastic as he once thought it was. And I think that's really a nice thing to drill down on, is how over time, especially when you're a kid, you think something is unbelievable and you go back and you rewatch it through the new you, you go, this wasn't even good. And I think that's a really cool subject matter that this film delves into. So I recommend the film. Check it out when it shows up, but just be advised, you're going to have a lot of, your patience is going to be tried. Let's talk about Tarot. This film bombed this weekend. $6.5 million. Too many horror films. Way too many horror films, right? We've had, go back to Immaculate, The First Omen. What else we have in there? Late Night with the Devil. There's more. What was the other one that was just a few weeks ago? Oh, Imaginary. There's more. Trust me, there's so many more. This film, thank God, is short as well. But this film is only a Final Destination Redux. We've done this. It's the same fucking movie. Here comes the tarot reading, right? Horoscope / tarot. And then you're going to find everybody's future, and then they're going to get picked off in that order, one by one, and it's going to happen how the cards say. It's just like Final Destination. It's the exact same thing. And this film is PG-13, so you don't even have like super gory things going on. You've got a little bit of gore. It could have really leaned into it and made a cooler film, no question. The only thing that this film's good at is the creature design. In the film, you've got the tarot cards, and you've got all these different creatures at the end, like the death card, or the magician card, or the Bad Omen card, whatever the fuck the other one is. There's like 6 of them. So each of the characters runs into this like malevolent creature at the end of their time, their final destination. And boom, this thing looks cool every single time. The problem is that it's PG-13. You've got that annoying kid from Spider-Man in it, the one, his friend, right? He's in it. He's annoying in this. It tries to do comedy, which it shouldn't. It should be a straight horror film. It tries to do this weird comedy thing. And then also it has one of the weirdest and most misplaced needle drops ever in the history of film. It has Howard Jones. Things will only get better when they start to do the cards. I'm like, what? What? Why are you playing a Howard Jones song? And this song in particular, weird directorial choice. Bad, weird, and terrible. This film's 47%. There's a reason why it bombed. Tarot, there's really no reason. I have a feeling you're going to see it on Netflix in a few months, and all these kids are going to be like, Tarot's scary. It's not a good movie. Okay, open comments. I think we hit almost everything. I might have missed something, and if I did, so be it. We're over an hour at this part. I mean, come on. I know exactly. You should, Kuzma. I watch these movies for you guys. But, ultimately, I like going to the movies. I mean, even to watch Tarot. I mean, even though it wasn't fantastic, and when I'm watching it, I can try to take something from it. I told you guys I'm writing a script right now, right? And here's the thing. So when you're writing a script, you obviously are influenced by many different things. And when you watch, trust me, Tarot has nothing to do with my script. It's not a horror film. But here's what I'm going to tell you, is that with every film, you can learn something. You can watch something and go, that's not what I would do. I like this. I would execute it this way. If you start to watch a film like that, you can really get good at this because you start to say, like the Howard Jones song, great example. What the fuck? Terrible. Like if I was at the test screening, I would be like, you can't do that. It's bad. And let's listen. What other choices do you have? And let's try that. There's so many things in this film that don't work that way. And that's fascinating because you go, well, okay, if you would have just changed this a little bit, turn that here, edit this down, give me more gore, we might have something to work with. But what's fascinating is you don't have that. So you have to imagine what would make it better. So I think that's why I like watching a movie like Tarot or any of these movies that are like truly terrible. You really are thinking the whole time how to make it better. Go back to Fall Guy. How to make it better. Tighten, lose 20 minutes. Not just that. It's that simple. I would absolutely change the screenplay when you talk about Aaron Taylor Johnson, he disappears, that whole thing in his house. If you guys have seen Fall Guy, you guys know what I'm talking about. Everything drags. There's so many scenes I would get rid of. I would change. I'd rewrite. The unicorn joke's only in one time, not 4. Tropic Thunder, let's come up with something else that's ripping Tropic Thunder. So when you're watching it, you're thinking to yourself, what could have been better than the choices made? The best scenario is when you watch a film like the film Over My Shoulder, you know what I'm talking about, Tar, and you go, I wouldn't change anything. I would just say this is perfect film. Not a single thing. Some of you might say you'd trim it. Fine, maybe like a tiny minute or two, maybe 5 minutes. But in general, I don't have any notes. I have no notes. When I watch Tarot, I've got notes. TVGlow, I don't really have a whole lot of notes because I know what she's doing. It's fine. I get it. You can do that. But if you watch a film, like I'm going to see Apes on Tuesday, when I watch this film, I'm going to say to myself, was this the best choice? Would I have done this like that? I think when you start going into it more of an evaluation, people always go, Weber, he's the movie evaluator. That's what it is. It's not a criticism. It is a criticism, but it's evaluation. Is it skilled at what it's trying to do? And would you do the same thing? Now, you have to have taste to do that. If you're Bilge, whatever his name is, you think that The Fall Guy is the best film ever and it's funny and everything's perfect about it. That's totally wrong, but he doesn't have the taste. You have to have the skill. That's something I don't believe everybody has. It's the reality of it. You can get better at it, though. I think the more you go into it with a critical eye and really think about your stuff versus I've always said Gore, and I know Gore's going through the health issues. I don't want to drag him. I'm not going to do that because I told you guys my prayers are with him. I mean that. I talked about that during our stream for, I believe, Fall Guy or even before that. I want Gore to get healthy. I hope he looks after his health because I know he wasn't for a long time. And you guys know, if I'm going to say these things, I believe them. I'm not just going to say, the sunny, bright stuff. He needs to cut back on the drinking. He needs to get himself in shape. He needs to take care of himself better physically because this was a wake-up call. And I know that is not easy to say. I get it, but that's what I do. That's all I try to do on this thing. Every single time that I'm out, guys, and if I missed a super chat, if I missed somebody, I'll get you next time. I'm just about done, because I want to wrap with this, is that's the power in doing this and doing anything in your life, is being purposeful, being authentic, and not being afraid to say the things you want to say. And I say that with my entire heart, my entire soul. I want Chris to get better. I want him to look after himself, and I want him to get healthier and be back. And I look forward to seeing him again one day very soon. I'm going to leave it like that. Thanks for being here on this Sunday, guys. Always a pleasure, MMT. I really do know you have a lot of options, a lot of choices. And I promise you, when we get an actual producer on the show and I don't have to talk and push buttons and do all this shit, I will get to more comments. I will be better about that. Gone Girl, check your DMs. You're going to be our trial producer next week. And you guys at the end of the show will vote whether Gone Girl is good enough to assume the role in a temporary manner. Thanks, guys. It's always a pleasure. As always, thanks, guys. Peace out. I'll see you Tuesday night for Apes. Bye.